Where the mountains of the Australian Great Divide swing south and east, they climb to their greatest heights, the peaks of Kosciuszko, Feathertop, Hotham, Bogong, Buffalo, where winter turns sun-baked valleys and ridges to snowfields larger than those of Switzerland.
The 1960s were a golden age for skiing in Australia. The year of 1964, when this footage was shot, boasted snow depths above 3 metres, peaking at 3.5, the deepest ever recorded in Australia, much to the public's delight back then.
Visitors come from the mountain towns, the capital cities. Engineers and salesmen, clerks and typists, enjoying the fun, sunshine, scenery, the exhilaration of the snow.
But if the 1960s were the peak, it's been downhill ever since, as each year, average snow depth gets thinner.
Well, the early season conditions prevail here in the mountains. We haven't had any natural snowfalls for probably about 2 weeks now. Hi, Reggae Ellis in Thredbo with the Mountain Watch Snow Report for Thursday. With thanks to Rip Curl Mountain Stores here in Thredbo, Nuggets Crossing, Jindabyne and Mount Buller. Well, we had another big night of snowmaking across all resorts in Australia, and that's what we've been relying on all season. There's a pretty good cover on the open terrain, but remember, it is all man-made, and without the snowmakers, who knows where we'd be right now.
Nobody is more qualified to comment on this sad trend than Reggae Ellis.
Well, I'm here on the couch with sports media legend Reggae Ellis. Some would even call you the mayor of Thredbo.
Reggae's been reporting on the amount of snow in Australia since 1989 from his home in Thredbo, in between running ski shops and editing Australia's premier ski magazine, Chill Factor.
The biggest thing when I first came down here, the seasons used to last longer. Like they'd usually close with, 1.5 metres of snow in October, and often you have a look at those old graphs and the snow level went all the way into November. Now it's sort of about the 13th to 16th of September, it just plummets off, so summer's arriving much earlier and winter's arriving later.
One look at these old graphs and Reggae's words ring true.
Obviously, like anything with snow and weather, you have your good days and your bad days and your bad months and your good months.
However, what were once considered bad months and even bad years are now becoming the norm. This chart documents snow depth at Spencer's Creek, a site in the heart of the Snowy Mountains with an elevation of 1,830 metres, similar to nearby resorts Perisher and Thredbo. You can quite clearly see a topping and tailing of the seasons as we get into the 21st century. And here we can see the last 50 odd years plotted against the 1964 bumper season.
One thing I've been trying to work on is understanding, what drives a good season and what drives a bad season in terms of snow, and that's something that's still not well understood.
What we do know is that the CSIRO says the impact of climate change on snow is twofold. Not only is snowfall itself predicted to decrease by factors of 50 to 90%, depending on elevation, by the end of the century, its ability to remain on the ground in a solid state is also reduced, and average snow depth will decline. One 2015 study discovered early October snow depths fell 30% during 2000 to 2013, when compared with 1954 to 1999.
So to come back to CSIRO's models, the projections are good. They're based on warming temperatures, and we are going to see a shortening of the season, particularly in earlier spring. They may be correct. It's really hard to say.
Under a worst-case emission scenario, the CSIRO predicts seasons could be up to 30 to 80 days shorter by the year 2050, meaning the traditional 112-day ski season would all but disappear. Perhaps the biggest losers, as in any climate change story, are the future generations. And for such a family-oriented sport, this is a big deal.
Skiing's one of the best family sports that anyone can take up. My children, they all ski. We still all ski together. I don't know many sports where you can watch your young children develop. As my son started skiing when he was 2, my daughter started skiing when they were 2. I was lucky enough with my son who loved it. He went on to be an Olympian with Australia, and that's a fantastic thing. But from us, it's a family sport, and you can share it with your grandparents, with your parents, with your children, and it's something that takes you right around the world. My name's Steve Cooper, and I'm a director of Ski and Snowboard Australia, and on New South Wales Snowsports Board. And
When I visited Steve, he was flat out organising thousands of school children ready to compete in Australia's popular inter-school snowsports events.
The inter-schools in New South Wales and ACT has been running for the last 30 years. And about 20 years I came down to the Snowy Mountains and got involved through my role as a deputy principal with schools. And around about 15 years ago, I was lucky or unlucky enough, I guess, however way you look at it, to become the chair of inter-school snowsports, and have been that way ever since.
So Oscar, my son, is competing in the inter-schools this year for the first time. Kind of just happened off the chance. We thought it could be a good experience for him and for us. So yeah, we're here and he's made it through to the state champ, so we're excited. Well, obviously the family loves skiing, so he's just drawn into it. And then since that, just the love for going fast, going off jumps, just being outside. One of the main things. We're out as a family having fun.
When I asked Oscar why he loved skiing so much, he confirmed his dad's suspicions.
I like to go on jumps and I like to go really fast.
Fortunately for Dave and Oscar, the interschools may yet endure the test of climate change, thanks to the art of snowmaking.
With the resorts in particular, in Australia, their investment in snowmaking has made huge differences in what we do. If we went back 10 years ago, when most of our big races, our regional races, are held during the July school holidays. You go back 10 years ago, sometimes we used to struggle. We used to have to cancel events because we relied just purely on natural snowfalls. The resorts have made a massive commitment to snowmaking, and they're able to deliver now a guaranteed snow base for us, particularly with our ski racing. And that really does help and support the industry, because it means that schools and parents and other people can plan to come down here in July, and even if the parents don't get the best ski that they've ever had, the students are always going to be on good snow.
One thing we find with this is, it's late August at the moment. In 2 weeks' time, there'll be no one here. People just don't come because it's warm weather. It gets warm in Sydney, they go to the beach and they stop thinking about it. The resorts make their money in July and August. So a lack of snow in September, probably not a big issue as far as the industry goes.
However, if resorts aren't so worried about shorter spring skiing options, they're certainly concerned about a lack of snow during their biggest weeks for revenue, the July school holidays.
By the second week of school holidays, if it wasn't for snowmaking, there wouldn't have been one lift open in Australia. So, it was 100% relying on that.
It seems almost paradoxical that the industry's best answer to diminishing natural snow is to make it themselves.
Snowmaking's an interesting one, and the resorts have invested heavily in that. Perisher's spent over $20 million in the past decade on upgrading their snowmaking infrastructure because they really want to climate-proof the operations. That way, if it doesn't snow, they can make snow. But you can only make snow when it's cold enough. So cold, clear nights are ideal for that. So they're still limited. If it's high humidity and it's warm, you can't make snow.
There exists another double-edged sword in how energy-intensive snowmaking is as well.
And then you've got to think, well, snowmaking uses a lot of power too, so that contributes to it. But then there has been snowmaking technologies becoming more sophisticated. It is using less power. You got things like that snow factory, which can make almost like a shave ice, but it works for beginners areas and crowded areas. Hi, Reggae Ellis in Mount Buller, where behind me you can see people skiing in March. Who would have believed it? Of course, this is Buller's man-made snow. They've invested, I should say, in this thing called the Snow Factory, and they've been making snow over the last 72 hours. And this is the result. They've been making snow up to temperatures of 20 degrees centigrade, and it's actually pretty good. This is a test run, of course, and everyone's down here, all the Buller staff and crew, having a pretty good time on what looks like decent snow. Pretty well this stuff comes out looking like shaved ice, and then you can see the groom here turns into pretty well snow, spring slush.
Water within the snow factory is cooled to freezing point by what is essentially a giant freezer charged with a refrigerant. As the circuit is closed to outside temperatures, it is not constrained like typical snowmaking machines that atomize water into fine droplets. The traditional machines then blow this mist into the atmosphere to crystallise on their own before hitting the ground. Instead, the snow factory produces small, dry ice flakes with a temperature of -5 degrees. This also ensures it melts far slower.
At Mount Bullerhouse is the 23rd of March and we've got snow. 23rd of March 2017, it's incredible. Mount Buller spent $1.6 million on this new snowmaking setup to make sure that we guarantee skiing between opening and closing weekend because it can make snow at any temperature. Currently 15 degrees out here.
Meanwhile, over at Perisher, all 236 of their snow guns that cover more than 53 hectares of terrain lay dormant in the spring-like temperatures for the 4 days that I was there in the middle of winter. Clearly, if making snow wasn't enough of a feat beforehand, resorts must now make it in temperatures above 0 degrees Celsius. If they do not, the CSIRO expects snowmaking opportunities may be halved by as early as 2030. However, climate-proofing techniques such as the snow factory represent more than a few extra centimetres of snow on the ground. They represent the paradigm shift that has taken place only recently when it comes to resorts publicly acknowledging climate change, where it was once the elephant in the room. Ironically though, climate change is still not a hot topic.
It does get mentioned, but not really that much. I think most people aren't too concerned about it. Maybe they should be. And I think, if we don't get our carbon emissions under control, we are going to see warming to the point where perhaps by 2040 we're starting to see some real problems. And it's really just taking off the start and the end of the ski season and making it a shorter period that we have snowfall.
However, this year has been a big year when it comes to resorts becoming proactive in the fight against climate change. Thredbo partnered with the American not-for-profit Protect Our Winters, who have taken the issue as far as US Congress. Whilst Perisher's parent company Vail Resorts came out and committed to a zero carbon footprint by 2030. Yet both resorts still declined to be interviewed on the subject.
I mean, as I said, there's been some turnarounds with Vail and Thredbo jumping on with power. Like 5 years ago, the resorts had their head in the sand. The resorts pretended nothing was going on. You weren't even allowed to mention climate change. They were all being fairly ignorant about it. So if that attitude prevails, and especially with the decision makers and federal government, the future is grim.
However, this year, Vail came out and described climate change as
one of the most significant challenges facing every country, every business and every person on our planet. The environment is our business and we have a special obligation to protect it. As a growing global company so deeply connected to the outdoors, we are making a commitment to address our most pressing global environmental challenge and protect our local communities and natural resources.
And whilst climate change may well result in fewer days in which to ski, it also brings with it graver implications for business, where the industry is worth over $1.5 billion and employs over 18,000 people.
The snowpack here feeds the biggest food bowl in Australia, so it's not just snow that skiing. It's not just sport that skiing and snowboarding is going to suffer. Like the ramifications are huge.
Push up through there and down there, yeah.
When I asked Dave to consider a future without Australian skiing, his words mirrored the skiing fraternity all over.
These kids, there wouldn't be a few. That's just, that'd be diabolical to us. My family loves skiing, so we couldn't imagine not being able to ski all the time and being able to be down in the mountain all the time. Yeah, absolutely love it.